Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Lazer Grand Arena Week 2. We are into our semifinals here in the single elimination portion of the bracket. Two players victorious earlier today facing off now. It is Amamiya Kokoro versus Tebi. Amamiya Kokoro victorious over Enri by a 5 mil to 4.4 mil score. Tebi victorious over Nope KJK with a 4.2 versus 3.58 mil score. I'm this one guy. Joining me for this match will be none other than Miles, and we've been discussing this match quite a bit before it started, Miles, and I think we should be in for a pretty good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Amamiya Kokoro, Tebi, two very long-time tournament players, both have tons of experience under their belt. Both have seen lots of success in the scene, and now meeting up here in the semifinals of Lazer Grand Arena. I'm sure both of these guys have thought a lot about their picks. As we are already getting into the ban phase, we see Amamiya Kokoro opting into a DT2 ban against Tebi, which is a skill set that Tebi won quite overwhelmingly so against Nope KJK earlier today. So maybe wanting to get that mechanics out of the way. And Tebi gonna ban the Hard Rock 3. Also makes a lot of sense against a player like Amamiya Kokoro. And he's gonna be picking some DTs.
Yeah, this is some speedy drafting as we've kind of come to expect, but Tebi with that first draft pick, DT3, was a map that they both played in their previous matches. Amamiya Kokoro did have the better score on it, but only by about 77,000, so Tebi feeling here that it may be winnable if he just performs to his own expectations. Amamiya Kokoro, no real surprise there, going for a double gimmick pick, goes Nomad 4, which was an incredible score for him, dropped a 730k on Nelv previously. Nomad 5, the Mad Piano Party, also a really challenging niche pick. Amamiya Kokoro on that one, also putting up a great score, 729k to match the 729k on Nomad 4. So I really like those picks from Amamiya Kokoro. Those are super scary, I think, if you're Tebi to be seeing those on the other side.
And surprisingly, after having Nomad 5 Mad Piano Party picked into him, Tebi goes for the Hidden 2 Bestrafrung, which is low AR A map, but still, it's kind of funny seeing one player pick low AR gimmick and then another player pick another kind of low AR gimmick. Just kind of goes to show how different those types of maps are. And now Tebi gonna ban out the Nomad 3, so no ult to be picked by Amamiya Kokoro. But yeah, it's so funny seeing the optics of this like pick ban phase, because it's not about like just flat out winning the maps in Lazer Grand Arena. It's about having a big deficit on maps. So if you can really dominate your opponent on one map, it can determine the outcome of the match, like we discussed earlier with AKNZX and Zudinator.
Yeah, it affects matches in a way that you're normally not used to because of the cumulative score. If you can find one pick that you are just incredible on versus your opponent, you can essentially win just straight up off of one pick, which I would suspect Amamiya Kokoro is hoping to be what happens with the Nomad 4, perhaps, with that score gap being nearly 200k in their last matches between their scores. So we'll see how that plays out here. Decent amount of mechanics they're getting banned out. The Nomad 1, DT1, those are just gigantic aim Nomad 1 and high BPM aimy bursty DT1. Amamiya Kokoro not wanting to leave those available. Both of those maps were banned against Tebi by Nope KJK as well, so he's not getting a chance at any of those today.
I guess not, but for good reason. Tebi's very good at those skill sets. Rather not have to face him on those. But yeah, we see the HR1 getting banned out now. Amamiya Kokoro next to pick. Probably expect him to pick Shadow Castle here, quite honestly. Shadow Castle or perhaps Infinity Heaven. Both could be good picks.
Yeah, definitely a few different options in kind of those more gimmicky maps, I suppose, remaining. What are remaining maps? Nomad 2, Hidden 1, Hidden 3, Hard Rock 2, DT4. Highdown has now listed out. Yeah, I would be happy with seeing him pick Shadow Castle here as well. I think that's like the obvious hidden tech. Like, I think that just goes well in this matchup. Nomad 2 is actually another option I'm very curious to see if we get in this one. Both played it last time. Amamiya Kokoro had a better score, but Tebi was the one to pick it. They both picked it themselves, I suppose. So we'll see if that one ends up getting played with both having picked it and both getting pretty good scores last time around. But Amico's just gonna ban it, which is kind of bizarre to me, actually. But this isn't a pick. This isn't a ban anyway. This is a pick. So this is actually his second to last pick. Last pick. Where are we here? Hang on. I gotta look at the sheet. Yeah, this is Amico's last pick. Okay. We may have made a blunder for Amico, leaving that information out there.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of a red flag for Tebby to pick that one later. So
green flag, if you will.
Green flag, yeah,
red
for
flag,
sure.
Red flag for Amico, green flag for Tebby. I believe would be how to look at that.
All right, and here's Shadow Castle. Pick coming out from Amamiya Kokoro, the aim control hidden tech stream map, whatever you may call it. Something you've seen a lot in tournaments recently, a very popular one. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited to see that one played again. And now
Tebby last pick.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. There's a few, and that was just always going to be the Nomad 2. All right, am I not able to read a ref sheet here? Okay, this is bans. All right, that's why. Then we have two bans remaining before the deciding map is ended up with. So yeah, Tebby jumped on that Nomad 2 opportunity. One ban per player left. Hidden 1, Hard Rock 2, DT4. What is your least of 3 evils that you want to try to leave up? I feel that Amiya Kokoro can do well in any of these. Maybe just bans Hidden 1 because it's most mechanically demanding of the 3 remaining maps.
I'd agree with that. I think the gimmicky nature of DT4 and the just HR2 being a skill set that's pretty good for Amamiya Kokoro. I feel like he'll want to leave those 2 ups. Yeah, Amamiya getting a bit confused with the format. Just acceptable. This is still a very new format. I've only played a few matches on it so far.
Oh, it's going to be Tebby banning the Hidden 1, so now Amamiya Kokoro basically has the choice of... This is essentially getting last pick here. If you're okay with one of these 2 maps, you just get last pick by banning the other one. It's Hard Rock 2, which is super precision. Infinity Heaven Hard Rock is CS 7.8, and that is the map that he is going to choose to leave up. So that will be our decider pick at the very end. So that is draft done. For these 2 players, we have the picks of Nomad 4, Nomad 5, and Hidden 3 for Amamiya Kokoro. We have the picks of DT3, Hidden 2, and Nomad 2 for Tebby. And as we were discussing, it feels to me that in general, this matchup is just favored toward Amamiya Kokoro on kind of like expected skill cap alone. You're just anticipating Amamiya Kokoro to perform a little bit better on average with a pool that's this difficult.
Yeah, and the Twitch prediction is also reflecting this. You have 671,000 channel points bet on Amamiya Kokoro up against just 4,000 bet on Tebby. So, if you want Tebby to win, put some channel points on him because you'll be making a real bounty in Osu Live channel points if Tebby manages to pull this one out. But yeah, I mean, Amamiya Kokoro has just been on a different level as of late, and I feel like he's just very advantaged in this matchup, almost across skill sets. So Tebby really gonna need to step this one up if he wants to have a chance of making it out of this matchup. But yeah, about to get on into it. We've got our first pick, the DT3, the Fergus speed map. Lots of finger control in this one, and Tebby's first pick.
And this should be a pretty closely fought one. This was, of the maps that these 2 had in common in their first matches, this was the closest of them. 77,000 points, all that separated the players. So it will just come down to who is more comfortable on this pick, I think, at this exact point in time. Winner of this one goes onward into the winner's final tomorrow. A lot on the line here as we get underway, and accuracy early on there just at the start favoring Amamiya Kokoro a little bit, but that's going to swing quickly. This is a ridiculously challenging pick with this rate adjust here. at, oh goodness, what is this? 256 BPM break core heavy burst map. And you can see both the players struggling a decent amount, accuracy dropping quite low, combo bit struggling for both players through the first quarter of the map.
Yeah, but the most important thing is that the score deficit is not too high for either of these players, because it's not too much about who wins, it's about that score deficit. And it being only 10k means it's not going to be too impactful of a pick thus far. But as we approach the halfway point, it's just still going to remain super close. It flips back over to Amamiya's side, but only by a few thousand points.
And realistically, I think if you're Amamiya Kokoro, you're okay with this as long as it's close, considering it was your opponent's pick. So just avoiding giving up too much score on it, whoever ends up losing this pick, that's kind of the optimal situation. We've had a lengthy amount of discourse regarding speed picks. You know, they are the most binary of skill sets. You're likely to see the biggest gaps in score between players, between a speed specialist and a non-speed specialist. And you're starting to see that reflected a bit here with the accuracy now in favor of Tebi by 2% and the combo largely his way. Nearly 100k advantage, which could be big going forward through this match if he can hold on to this kind of gap. 100k starting lead is sizable to say the least.
Yeah, and I think Tebi's really going to need this going into some of Amamiya's picks, as Amamiya has gotten some insane scores, especially on the Nomad 4. So Tebi, combo gaming so long, finally dropping, but he has done his work. That lead is 150k in favor of Tebi going into the end of this map, and that is a very good lead for him in this matchup.
And that's a big turnaround as well. That's essentially on the order of a 210,000, 220,000 point turnaround compared to how this map went previously, where Amamiya Kokoro, if you look at their scores from their first matches, won this by a bit. This time around in the head-to-head, it's Tebi taking a 147k lead off of this pick. And like you said, multiple of the Amamiya Kokoro picks look very good for him and not as great for Tebi. But having this kind of advantage to fall back on when you're going into Amamiya Kokoro's first two picks is a large boon for Tebi. If he can manage to keep Nomads 4 and 5 close, he'll be in a pretty good position at about the halfway mark of the match. So we'll go into the Nomad 4 first pick for Amamiya Kokoro with, I think, bated breath, because this was a massive gap the other way around. 183k to Amamiya Kokoro when you compare their scores on this map previously, looking to make that happen again to bring this gap down.
We've got Nelv mapped by Halgo. Very notorious tech mapper, to say the least. A lot to slider aim in this one. Something that has kind of been the main skill set for Amamiya Kokoro and just South Korea as a whole in the Osu World Cup. Really, really keen on picking these tech maps at every opportunity they can, and not gonna shy away from picking it here either.
In we go. This map is frankly brutal. The slider aim requirement is gargantuan. Let's see how the players handle it, as it just throws you right into the pick instantly. This was a map that both Amamiya Kokoro and Enri performed incredibly well on. Looking for that to happen again perhaps here and have a battle on it between Amamiya Kokoro and now Tebi on the other side. And boom, into the drop you go. The gigantic slider aim, some control tapping as well. And the advantage goes to Amamiya Kokoro early on, already up by 30,000 points, and we've barely gotten into it at all. Tebi with multiple breaks early on, and the accuracy down to 94%. Clearly not a map that he is quite as comfortable with. And Amamiya Kokoro looking to take full advantage.
Yeah, on the other side of Tebi, repeated breaks, we're seeing still a full combo coming up from Amamiya Kokoro, and that lead is exploding in his favor. Already almost about 100,000, and we're only a third of the way into the map. Still so much score left to be gained for Amamiya Kokoro, and he is just beasting his way through these sliders in that slider stream. And he's about to make it to the next slow part, so very good stuff from him. And that lead from Tebi on the first pick has just already dried up, as Amamiya still FCing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is a crazy performance from Amamiya once again on this pick, man. He set a high standard for himself after the first match on it, and he's looking to live up to it. We are at the 2/3 mark, still holding the FC, still 98 AC. And finally will fall on that difficult flow stream. Tebi does have some combo built up. So he may be able to work away at that lead in the last quarter of the map. But a lot of the damage has already been done. It is a 175k lead. Tebby falls immediately, and this score lead, 147k on one map, is just not going to have been enough once this is over, because Amamiya Kokoro is going crazy on this pick once again.
Yeah, that massive combo is such a boon for Amamiya Kokoro. 200k score lead, and that's probably not going to dissipate at all by the end of this. So that's going to bring the overall score to be about 50 or 60k in favor of Amamiya Kokoro when it's all said and done. And it's going to be even more successful than that compared score led us to believe.
Yeah, that was everything Amamiya Kokoro could have ever wanted out of the pick. And he even improved his score from the first go around, 730k up to that 788k. Really, really strong performance. Tebby, for his part, went from 546 to 569k. But there's only so much you can do when your opponent does that well on a map. And just like that, like you said, 71k immediately over to Amamiya Kokoro, and he still has his second pick to come here. So we'll go into Nomad 5, Mad Piano Party, which is simply brutal. To see if Amamiya Kokoro can continue to expand that lead. Tebby, generally speaking, not a bad gimmicky map player, but in this matchup, I think you have to favor this one once again to Amamiya Kokoro, much like the last pick.
Well, I think this one is going to be a really important pace setter because right after this, we have the low AR hidden map. So to see who can really take an advantage on this no-mod low AR gimmicky pick is going to be massive because it's going to make a lot of the confidence going into the next map. I mean, this one more of a reading-focused aim control map, while the next one is more of an aim map. Both are still low AR, so it's going to be really important to see who can take a massive advantage on this one. And about to get on into it, Mad Piano Party mapped by Panic.
In we go. A little bit more of a marathon this week with the extra couple of picks in these matches, whereas last week felt a little bit more like a sprint. That extra 2 maps can go a long way. So we'll see how the players handle the extra length, extra guaranteed picks. And this map, do you know offhand, because I'm not entirely sure, what beat snap those 1/3 or those 3-note triples are? Is that like 1/6 or faster? Because it seems even faster.
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I played this map, but it's tough out the gate for Tebby, finding that early drop. Amamiya Kokoro still holding on to the FC, but goes down. So it's going to be about even here. This map's a short one. We're already a third of the way through, and both players repeatedly finding some breaks, but it's going to be a little worse for Tebby out of that section. Amamiya now with a 35k lead and growing.
Yeah, the control aim / flow aim sections in this map are absolutely brutal. The way those streams overlap on themselves and back over themselves, very, very challenging, both in the reading and the aim and tapping departments. It throws a lot of difficulty at you, as well as those quicker bursts that can be easy to, if not break on, at least drop back on. It is a break eventually from Amamiya Kokoro, so combo advantage does go the way of Tebby for the moment. About the 2/3 mark here of this pick. We'll see if Tebby can bring this back a little bit, but that act difference is really helping out Amamiya Kokoro, up 97 and low 94s. And with Tebby breaking, this might be another 100k or more in favor of Amamiya Kokoro.
Yeah, probably. Tebby finding some struggles on that burst into the flow pattern, and that's just going to spell doom for him on this one. Really close to the end. Amamiya with big combo could expand this lead all the way up to even like 150k by the end as Tebby continues to struggle on the ending of this map. And it is going to be another 150k plus score gap for Amamiya Kokoro on this one going into the hidden 2 pick. And that's not a great look for Tebby going into another low AR map.
No, that was a really good performance from Amamiya Kokoro, though. You got to give him a lot of credit, especially comboing that entire ending. Managed to expand that score gap out some more just based on hitting the end and Tebby struggling with the end. A very good score once more. 725k is pretty strong on that map for as challenging as it is. And there you go, 242k in favor of Amamiya Kokoro. We still have 4 maps left, so there's still a lot of time. But as you said, Mad Piano Party kind of going to act as a little bit of a barometer going forward. You got a couple of, reading and tech picks from Amamiya Kokoro. Now we're going to go into a couple more, one of which is a Tebby pick, and it looks a little less certain that he might do well compared to Amamiya on this map based on how the reading aspects of the previous picks went. So Tebby really going to need to lock in here, needs to get a decent amount of score back on his own pick. And then, you know, the big question marks are going to come up at the ending. We got to get through Bestrafung and through Shadow Castle first before we really see how much meaning there will be in those last two picks. So in we'll go to the second pick, excuse me, for Tebby, going to the low AR hidden. And this one is a pretty challenging, kind of awkward, snappy with some flow aim sections. Lot in this one as well. Kind of has its similarities to the map we just played, though.
Yeah, this one initially a custom for, I think, the OS World Cup in 2021, I think, in the final stage or grand finals, but regardless, this map, a much different feel. Only thing that's really similar between this one and the last map is that approach rate, but this one going to be entirely focused on the aim, while the other one, lot more control aspect in terms of both tapping and reading, so this one could fit Tebby a little bit better, but that's not going to be the case out of the start after finding a couple of breaks and a massive accuracy difference in favor of Amamiya Kokoro, who's up at 99%. But Tebby going to find another drop as we get into this difficult jump section here. It's just all about on how long Amamiya can hold, because he is still holding on to such a strong full combo, but there it goes, FC down. Tebby now, ball in his park, has opportunity to take back a combo lead here, but he's going to find a break as well, so it's just going to go straight back to Amamiya Kokoro to see how long he can hold.
Showing some difficulty for both players, really taking advantage of their opponent's misses at any point. It's largely that accuracy gap here for Amamiya Kokoro, 99 to 96. Avoiding those big act drops has been very useful. Another break there from Tebby, and his own pick not going nearly so well as he would have liked. We're going to be coming up on the halfway mark with Amamiya Kokoro holding onto a 38k lead, but the combo advantage and the accuracy advantage pretty heavily in his favor to try to build some order of a gap up here into the back half of the map. Players just need to build some combo, and again, like, just the struggles, right? Whoever is in the lead on this pick, unable to keep the combo up. It's another break there from Amamiya Kokoro this time. And now we'll see if Tebby can maybe work to bring this back a little bit.
Yeah, this map is just so relentless. The awkward aim in this really never stops, and it is just so hard to really find your footing on this type of map. Like, those angles are so difficult to snap properly. Tebby gets through them properly, though. 220 combo should be able to bring that advantage back over to his side if he can hold just a little bit longer. But he's got another one of these difficult linear aim sections to get through.
Keeping it up, though, is Tebby here. Does have the combo live. There it goes. A break on just the last note of that pattern. Breaks right after as well. And Amamiya Kokoro, just like that, instantly swings the lead over. 200 combo and that accuracy advantage. A little smaller than it was, but the combo advantage is there. Both break on the big full screen jumps. Both having a lot of trouble with the aim components of this. The snapping low AR aim can be a bit of a challenge, but it is all fine in that regard for Amamiya Kokoro. He's going to be okay with this one, you know, being close, and obviously going to be okay with himself being in the lead on it, but anything close would have been fine with an already 242k lead, and that lead is going to grow out. We're going to see a gap of probably about 300k once this one is over, and that's starting to sound alarm bells if you're Tebby, with only one pick of his own to come, and Amamiya Kokoro looking very, very strong on these early maps.
Yeah, I mean, this lead is going to be even higher than 300k for the end for Amamiya Kokoro. It's going to be more like 350k, and there it is, 353k in favor of Amamiya Kokoro now after the hidden 2. And that, as you mentioned, is just full alarm bells. Tebby now basically needs an FC on one of the remaining maps in order to really bridge this gap, and that is going to be tough on a map pool this difficult.
Yeah, I don't unfortunately know where Tebby can pull this much of a gap back on the remaining picks with Amamiya Kokoro looking this good. 3 maps still to go, but it's Hidden 3, which is his own pick, Nomad 2, which he did very well on the first time around, and Hard Rock 2, which he, you know, essentially made the last pick with that ban of DT4. So Tebby has got to really figure something out here. He'll have to pull off something pretty remarkable in these last couple maps to bring this much of a gap back, because I just don't foresee Amamiya Kokoro underperforming on any of these picks. So it's going to need to be like an FC or 2 from Tebby, you know what I mean, to build up that kind of score difference.
Yeah, and Shadow Castle, this map is notoriously brutal for the aim control, just the awkward flow streams in this. Getting an FC on this would be an absolutely legendary performance, and he just about needs it if he wants to come back in this matchup. This map, the aim control is even worse than the aim control that was giving the players trouble on the Nomad 5 from earlier, so this going to be a really contentious one. Both of them still holding on to the FCs, though. None of the early aim control patterns giving either of these players any trouble. Tebby finding a couple of 50s, but managing to hold on to the combo. But here we go into the Ki section. This is where you expect players to find the drop. The aim control just ramps up so massively, but both of these players still holding on to their full combos. This is kind of absurd so far through the first third of the map.
And it's going to be the first break to come from Ame Kokoro. After that 700 combo nearly, Tebby continues to hold on. So we could be seeing our first maybe misplay here a little bit from Amamiya Kokoro, who did pick this map. Don't know that you anticipate your opponent putting up this kind of score. Finally, it is going to be a break, though, on that little control aim pattern for Tebby. And goodbye to the lead as Amamiya Kokoro once more holding ridiculous accuracy and building the combo back up. And the lead goes his way. We'll see how long he can hang on through some of these difficult slider sections before getting back into that control tapping aim.
It was a really good combo for Tebby there, but he really needed to see an FC on this map, all things considered. Like, halfway through, holding an FC halfway through Shadow Castle is no small feat. This map is so brutal, but Tebby, with how Amamiya Kokoro is performing right now on this map, with that reestablished combo, Tebby really needed to FC this one, and now repeatedly finding some breaks as Amamiya's combo is ballooned back up to 660. So we get into that second final Ki section. It's going to look to be a very impressive, perhaps even a one miss for Amamiya Kokoro on this.
That does have to make his way through the ending and will not do so successfully, falling on one of those additional tricky control tapping aim patterns. But nonetheless, the damage will once more be done. This pick looked like it may be a question mark at the halfway mark with Tebby holding on to that big FC. But Amamiya Kokoro recovering so well. Few breaks in the ending where Tebby is holding is going to drop the score lead down a bit, but it's still going to be 93k built off of this map. And that score lead now 446k. I mean, these scores from Amamiya Kokoro are frankly ridiculous. 732k is not bad by any means for Tebby. Like, that is a really solid score in a vacuum. But when you're going up against a player dropping 825k, there just isn't that much you can do, unfortunately. That is a crazy performance from Amamiya Kokoro. That lead is massive. There are 2 maps to go. 446k. It would need to be full collapse mode for Amamiya Kokoro, unfortunately. We're getting to that stage of the match now where there is just not a whole lot Tebby can do. And the question that I'm almost more interested in now is whether Amamiya Kokoro can break that 5 million score like he did in his first match, and like AKNZX set the standard 5.2 million. Can Amamiya Kokoro get up to that with a, what would that be, about a 1.7 million over the next 2 maps?
Yeah, that would be insane if he can get up to 5 mil, but I'd like to point out that 99.39 accuracy from Amamiya Kokoro on Shadow Castle. That is actually insane for a map like that where a lot of players struggle to really stay on the streams. If you just miss once, you have the chance of missing the whole stream, but Amamiya staying above 99 despite the misses. Super impressive from him, but here it is, Nomad 2, Dream and Attraction. This almost feels like Tebby's last stand here. Really needs to put up an insane score on this in order to claw back a lot of that lead before the last map, but with how Amamiya is playing, it almost feels like it's already out of reach.
Yeah, you kind of hate, you know, to call the victory ahead of time. We still have a couple maps left, but it would take Amamiya Kokoro having a really bad time on this map and Tebby probably pulling off an FC or something near it, because you got to figure if he doesn't do something like a 900k to 500k here, there's just no coming back, considering how difficult the one remaining map will be after this, which is that CS 7.8 Hard Rock. So this needs to be Tebby's just absolute masterclass on this pick. We'll see if he can do it.
And I think it's definitely possible. Tebby got, I believe, 681k on this last time, so very capable of putting up a very strong score on this, but gonna be needing an FC in order to bring this one back, so
and
really
early break as well, so that's not going to help matters.
Yeah, definitely not at all, as Amamiya holds on through the beginning stream, still holding on to that SS. Very strong. Get into the next stream section. This is a stream map, by the way. Lots of flow aim, gonna be the main skill set tested on this one. And Amamiya Kokoro, after the last map, that flow aim is not gonna be a question at all for him. He is looking so strong.
Yeah, Amamiya's been just dominant on the flow so far today. Has looked really good, whether it's, you know, kind of that flow slider aim or flow tapping. You know, it's been a string for him. Another break there from Tebi. Lead in favor of Amamiya Kokoro does finally drop his first couple of 100s, but no real matter as the combo still alive and continuing to grow through these challenging flow and slider aim patterns. Very impressive stuff here from Amamiya Kokoro, man. Lead nearly 100k. Can he hold on through this diff spike here? And wow, he does into the next section. Incredible stuff. Over 1100 combo for Amamiya Kokoro.
Yeah, Amamiya, just all eyes on him. One of the top tourney players in Korea. One of the centerpieces of their super successful OWC roster that's gotten second now twice in a row. And he is just going off right now. 99.5%. The PP counter in the top right. This is a 600 PP score in a tournament right now and rising. And he is just continuing to hold on now. Halfway through the map, finally finding that first break. But still, that combo is already done enough. It's 150k of lead, and Tebi now back way up against the wall. I don't even know if there's anything he can do left in this match with how Amamiya is doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider how much score is remaining in this map and you know what the likely outcomes of the next pick are, this is looking kind of over, unfortunately, at this juncture. I just don't see what Tebi can possibly do, especially not when he's even breaking in this easier section. So, you know, one map plus a minute of this one remaining. This match is essentially out of hand. Kind of just going to be looking at what the total score ends up being for Amamiya Kokoro, which the 5 mil still in play here. You know, gets another couple 100k in the last minute of this with how note dense it is. And only would end up at that point needing a few 100k on the last pick. It might be challenging, but it is still a possibility, and we're just going to kind of watch this play out here. This map, 170k in Amamiya Kokoro's favor, really not much Tebi can do, and that's more or less going to decide the match. So we're just looking at the total scores. We're kind of playing for pride here for Tebi and kind of seeing just how high a score Amamiya Kokoro can achieve.
Yeah, I assume Amamiya can get probably up to 850k on this one, maybe 800 if he can hold on through the rest. But she is probably going to do at this rate, looking super comfortable on these streams, 99.28%, and it's probably going to be more around the likes of 850k. Just a few seconds left in the map.
See if he hits the kick slider jumps here at the end and the last space stream, and he does. There you go, Miles. 847k, 4.3 million through 6 of 7 maps from Amamiya Kokoro. Another just sterling showing from the Korean player. Tebi, not a terrible score either, down at 623k, but I mean, a lot of the time, that's not a bad score. It's just, again, you're against an opponent who's dropping these 800k plus scores. It's like, what more can you even do? This is just Amamiya Kokoro putting on a clinic today in this match.
It's never been a question of if Tebi is performing well. It's just Amamiya Kokoro has just consistently been one step higher in this matchup. And apart from that DT3, Tebi never really able to get an advantage on any of these picks, and Amamiya able to consistently get 100k deficits over Tebi on this, which is pretty much why he has such a dominating lead up at 670k. Now going into Infinity Heaven, Amamiya needs about 650k in order to reach that difficult 5 mil mark, and with how he's been playing in this matchup, I think that's very likely.
Yeah, I think the 5 mil definitely in play here. But this map, pretty tough. I mean, it's more flow aim, but those small circles, man, we'll see. But in we go here. A little quiet build up before you get into the real streams, but it's like the spacing, absolutely absurd once it gets going.
Yeah, and the circle size, 7.8 on flow aim is not to be underestimated as we see Amamiya find that early drop. So Tebi gonna have a lead here.
Maybe this map not quite as good for Amamiya Kokoro as we would have thought going in. Maybe Tebi better at precision than we would have thought going in. It'd be nice for Tebi, you know, to get a point, as it were. Or would this be a second point? I may be misrecalling. Yeah, it would be a second point. A second map where he gains some score on his opponent. Not that it really matters to the total outcome, of course, but morale booster, you know?
But yeah, for Tebi, I mean, making it this far to the winners semifinals is a very good run from him.
Just a bit of map to go here as we go into the last minute of this match. We have a nail-biter of a final map. What could have been if every pick in this matchup was this close? The score gap would not be quite so wide. And we go into these last flow patterns. We'll see Amamiya Kokoro needs about another 150k in the last 40 seconds of the map to break that 5 mil barrier. And for Tebi, just looking to hold the combo, maybe get another kind of map win, map point gained on the board, regardless of the total outcome. And these streams do not let up. The spacing so challenging on these tiny circles. That big flow.
Oh, it's going to be so close.
It's going to be so close. This is going to be so close.
Oh my god, there's like nothing in the ending here.
Is there enough combo? I mean, there's 15 seconds.
There it is.
There's at least a bit of combo. Yeah, it is going to happen. So we will see Amamiya Kokoro for the second time breaking the 5 million score barrier, which is a really, really impressive showing for him. 700. Oh, thanks, client. What's his final score? Oh,
that's 700k. That has to be.
It's got to be like it's 700k, right? Come on. Oh, we don't get to see. Damn, this client. But it is going to be the win regardless for Amamiya Kokoro. It looks like the total score difference is going to be 691k, and it did end up being a 700,311 point score on that last map. So Amamiya Kokoro, after dropping 454k on the DT3, doesn't drop under 700k the rest of the way in the match. And he will be the victor, 5,048,208 to 4,357,110. And by that large margin, it's going to be Amamiya Kokoro going onward into the winner's final tomorrow. He will await the victor of AKNZX versus Flying Tuna in what is going to be a crazy couple of matches, because all three of those players looking so good thus far.
Yeah, and I mean, we have the potential for an all-Korean matchup here in the winner's final if Flying Tuna does manage to beat AKNZX, but he's going to have his work cut out from him. I feel like this score differential kind of format really favors AKNZX and his speed prowess, but we're going to see how that goes. That one is going to be tomorrow at 7 UTC, I believe, so be there.
beasts as far as the eye can see. A plague on the surface, a disgusting swarm in the skies. With a crash of thunder, a new demon appears. Unfurling its rotten wings, it lets out a petrifying scream. Time to fight back.
All right, welcome back everybody to the Lazer Grand Arena, where have a semifinals matchup coming up for you. A matchup I've been very excited for. Two super well-rounded players with varying strengths at the high end of their skill sets. We have Akins, the Australian prodigal demon, coming in at seed second, up against Flying Tuna, very well-known player, of course. And I'm commentating this Vordy alongside Matt. How you doing, man?
Yo, what's going on, Vordy? Yeah, doing pretty good. I mean, this is a high matchup. I think, after everyone seeing the match between Zudi and Akins yesterday, I'm sure people are excited to see him in action here again today. Very close matchup between those two players. Unfortunately, Tuna on the back end of an FF there, so just moving on into this match, not being able to really see his performance on this pool so far, but we're going to see it today, as of course, if you are unfamiliar with the way the Lazer Grand Arena format is working and how the tournament is proceeding in terms of the stages, we are doing the whole tourney in just 2 weekends. So this is the second weekend, meaning we have already done the quarterfinals round, and we are currently in the midst of the semi-finals, where we're going to be getting a pretty bag of matchup here between Tuna, AKNZX, or Akins. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this one. I'm not really sure who you would say is favorite on paper. I think maybe if you're going to go off terms in terms of qualifiers and performances in the tournament so far, I think you could maybe slightly give the edge to Akins, but it's really close. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's tough, especially because, as you mentioned, Flying Tuna had an FF in his first matchup of this round of this map pool, so Flying Tuna has that advantage. Akins doesn't know Flying Tuna's scores so far, but the opposite way is true, which means he has some quality info. And obviously in the matchup, Akins up against Zudinator, the real deciding factor of that matchup that led to the win was that DT3. Just having a massive speed advantage against your opponent in a format where it's essentially a score tally is super important, right? If you win an A map by like 100k score, it's not a big deal. If you win a speed map by 500k score, that's super decisive. Flying Tuna, though, is pretty solid at tapping. It's by no means his premier skill set. It's not his key strength that he's going to want to pick into. You see him banning that double time 2, very fair ban, but I think on that double time 3, he's going to have a pretty good time.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Tuna is one of those players over the past couple years or year or so that has definitely improved his speed quite considerably. Used to be one of those things in a tournament, especially in a 1v1 scene, where I think it would definitely be a weakness to pick into, especially a player like Atkins, who is just a premier speed player, just one of the best in tourney. But nowadays, Tuna, I think, especially at this stage as well, I don't think this pool is like hard enough to where he's not gonna be able to play them. Is he gonna play them as comfortably as Atkins will? Probably not, but I do think he's going to get a good score here. I don't think we're going to see a repeat of possibly the Atkins-Zudi situation where Zudi unfortunately just goes down several hundreds of thousands of points on something like the DT3. So, well, let's see how that one pans out. But I am interested in the banning decision here from Atkins, actually opting to ban No Mod 1, is it?
Yep, No Mod
And
1
leaves No Mod 5 open, which is interesting because No Mod 5 was his insta ban yesterday against Zudi, and that makes sense. That Mad Piano Party, if you haven't seen the map, if you haven't played the map, that map is impossible. That map is so hard at low A. It's just a low AR onslaught and just so hard to play that I'm very surprised to see Atkins leave that open. But that kind of just goes to show the versatility this guy has. I'm interested to see how that one pans out.
Yeah, both of these players are super well-rounded. In the same way that AKNZX, obviously Atkins, mostly wants to play tapping, he's fine on the reading. He's a pretty solid reading player in the same way Flying Tuna wants to play the reading. You know, first picks the No Mod 5, second pick Hidden 2, so both of the heavy reading maps going to Tuna. And AKNZX, unsurprisingly, going for Double Time 3. Now that was always going to be his go-to, but we'll see if Flying Tuna can perform well on it as well. Double Time 1 is an interesting pick. It's obviously favored to Atkins because I think he'll have a much better time getting good ACK on it. But because it's primarily a DTA map, that's something Flying Tuna is pretty good at. The last two picks between these players are the ones that interest me the most, right? You have Atkins picking the Hard Rock 1, which is, I mean, that's something I think Tuna top scored. Oh, actually, no, he banned it. I was going to say, yeah, I think he banned it. So yeah, fair ban, banning out something Flying Tuna top scored in qualies. And then Tuna, I believe, banning out No Mod 2, so another tapping heavy map.
Yo, Grin is still being floated here. Grin, that is a classic map from KTG stuff. Definitely one I played a lot back in the day just with Hidden. Like, excited to see if that one maybe slips in here. Is that going to be our possible decider?
I think it is.
Oh, it's gonna be that or No Mod 3 here, I think. Depending on Atkins' decision of a ban, and yes, Grin is gonna be our decider. That's an exciting one to see. Lots of polyrhythmic patterning and weird, I guess, aim control in that type of map at a very low BPM. So interested to see that one as a decider. I think both players going to do fairly well on it. Probably give the edge to Tuna, I think, on something like that. Slightly, but regardless. Interested to see that one get in there. That's pretty good. The lineup of maps so far looks like we're going to have a bunch of low AR, bunch of speed to kick things off as you would expect. And here we go, getting straight into Mad Piano Party. And as I said, you're going to see very quickly that this map is impossible, as I put it. I mean, this map is really, really tough.
And as you mentioned, Atkins first banned this up against the matchup against Zudinator, so we'll see if he's more practiced this time around, having a bit of time between the matches. Does find an early drop, and obviously accuracy on Lazer scoring is so valuable. Flying Tuna does miss as well, so both of them finding some struggles.
Yeah, and you can see early on, some of these streams already, they might look playable, but I promise you those overlaps are no joke. Atkins finding some struggles early on, as you can see, getting a bunch of 100s, a bunch of 50s on some of these overlaps. You miss-aim one of these ever so slightly, and you could just fall off beat, fall off rhythm. And there goes Tuna as well. Atkins managing to get a combo going, but look at the accuracy difference. And with this Lazer scoring, that is going to matter so much, like you said. 5% almost in the favor of Tuna is going to net him about a 50k score lead so far, but about half of the map remaining still.
It's really interesting seeing the comparisons between high ACK, low combo scores versus the opposite on Lazer. But with that break, okay, AKNZX matching, so it's going to go back to Tuna favor. Remember, this is Tuna's first pick, and you want to build up as big of a score lead as possible, and right now, Atkins not too far behind. He's holding up well for a map that seemingly was a
Oh
losing
my
matchup.
god.
Oh, he's brutal there.
But these patterns are they're just so disgusting to watch get played. This play is constantly breaking back and forth, but this on SV2, like these players would have considerably lower scores. It's
Yeah, I mean for sure.
This is so hard to play, man. You just see some of these angles on this approach rate. They really hold no punches. Unable to get through anything. Tuna actually falling to the wayside here.
Look at this combo.
Atkins going
from
off on this
Atkins.
ending. Finally breaks. Actually comes out on top. The first pick from Flying Tuna. Atkins with a 560,000 score makes a comeback in the final moments of the map. Very impressive stuff. Not who you expect, like you said. Like he's not a low AR player, but man, he could just play it. He could just play it. He could just play it better than some reading players for some reason. It's crazy.
I mean, he just really held up well in the ending. The starting half of the map, Tuna held like a 3% AC lead. By the end, it dropped to like a 0.5% AC lead, and obviously Atkins just comboing more. But this is like a speedrun match. We're 9 minutes into this match. Every pick has been done. All the bans have been done. We're in the second map. These players are getting through it quickly. But double time 3, Atkins' first pick, the speed map.
Yeah, DT3. We saw this one yesterday. Just an unrelenting onslaught of speed bursts. Couple longer streams, couple slightly longer stream patterns in here as well. Yeah, as you can see there. About 11, 13 note or so. Not sure, but gonna definitely be a test of the stamina as well as just the raw speed and a little bit of reading. But you can see something like this for Atkins, it's really gonna be no problem. 99%. Tuna, he's gonna be able to play this, like I said. He's improved his speed quite substantially over recent times, but you can definitely see the accuracy difference here. The comfort always going to be in the favor of a player like Atkins on something like this, but Tuna holding up well so far.
As long as Tuna can keep that combo together, did find a break early on, but seemed to recover pretty well. Obviously not as you know, of a metronome, and as Atkins, but he does find a break, and there it is. That's where you can find the advantage. Atkins will still likely hold the AC lead throughout this map, but if Tuna can keep that combo up, he might be able to recover from that early deficit on the Nomad 5.
Yeah, it's looking good for Tuna now. 20k difference, and he is building this back. The accuracy keeping things in Atkins' favor very slightly, staving Tuna off, but Tuna, he is going to take this if he continues to hold this combo. The combo advantage he's managed to accrue here is going to I guess, outperform the accuracy lead that Atkins has in terms of the score. And here it goes. He will take the flicker. 10k in the lead now. Continues to hold. Tuna finally drops in the final sections of the map here. Now Atkins going to take things back very convincingly. But Tuna, I mean, like we said, this is a score differential. This is not map wins. So this is going to be a really big pickup for Tuna early on to not even lose this by more than 50k.
A much needed performance from Tuna there, especially after the Nomad 5. Obviously still does lose the head-to-head, but by no huge margin, only a 50k loss. We'll go into Atkins' next pick, the double time 1, but yeah, still holding it together, very, very close after the first 2 maps, and that's like the difference, right? I think Atkins basically performing the same as he did up against Zudinator, but instead of a 500k differential, it's a 50k differential.
Yeah. There's one extra 0 off there, the difference. But yeah, I mean, that ended up spelling defeat for Zudi, so Tuna still in this one for sure. If he can do some work in the latter half of these map picks, it is going to do dividends for him. But we are straight into the DT1, Vorty. This one yesterday was also a banger. Very close one in the Atkins Zudi matchup too. And interested to see how this one pans out. I mean, you always expect a player like Atkins, one of the most comfortable, one of the most prominent DT1 players in the tournament scene, I would say right now. But Tuna, always capable on maps like this, always has been for many, many years. And here he is again to hopefully perform in this DT1 and try and accrue a lead, but it's 70k he's going to have to make up so far in this match, and Atkins going to be hoping to convert this one for himself, as doesn't want to lose this lead early on in his first 2 picks.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually really interesting double time 1 in Lazer, and that's because of obviously a lot of players are super comfortable alting these kinds of maps, having no problems, but generally speaking, the AC tends to drop by at least a bit when you're alting these kinds of maps, right? Atkins obviously comfortable enough to single tap, and that should give him an AC advantage. Right now it's a 1% difference, And that's just like a nice little lead. In Score V2, it wouldn't really matter. It would almost entirely come down to combo, but here that bit of act comfort gives a bit more reasoning to why he would pick this. But so far, both players holding combo. It's really going to come down to who finds the break, assuming somebody does.
Yeah, you can sort of see, like, I guess the difference accuracy makes. One of the biggest dispatches of the map here, I think. Both players getting through it, actually. 20k lead for Atkins, still moving on. And you can see he's got about a 1% act lead, and that's accruing about 20k of a score advantage, so you can kind of get an idea of how this laser scoring is calculated a little bit better. But just still, both players, they're holding on to these FCs, and still the 1% act lead for Atkins, but both of them are just absolutely tearing this map up with 30 seconds remaining. This is unbelievable. There's no way we're going to see a double FC on this. Oh, hitting these dip spikes, man. This is unbelievable from both of them. Just going crazy into this ending. Still the act lead, holding on for Atkins. It's just 20k, and all of these maps have been so close. We're going to see a double FC. No,
oh,
Tuna goes down. Oh, wow. That lost him about 45k there in terms of a difference at the ending. But wow, a near double FC is unbelievable from these players.
Yeah, I mean, Tuna breaking right at the end, but still did the brunt of the work of just keeping that lead close. Now going into his next pick, Hidden 2, hopefully for Tuna, he'll hope to find a better lead here, obviously. So far, he's, I think, lost all of the head-to-heads, including his first pick, but all by such a small margin that he can make it up any time. But obviously, fantastic FC from Atkins. It's really funny seeing the PP counter on stream, because it's like, oh, yeah, it's just better than any player I've ever set. Cool. Nice.
Yeah, in 20. Yeah, they can just do that.
It's just funny seeing the point at which it overtakes.
Yeah,
overtakes the top player.
Yeah, I always feel like that when I watch like top plays, and like like when I watch like some of the best PvP players, you're like, oh, he beat my top player in like 10 seconds. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
really crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hidden 2. Now this was, I believe, a map that Atkins had a lot more struggles with up against the match against Zudinator, and if you're Tuna, I think this is your best opportunity to make a differential. Tapping is one of the more polarizing skill sets in the game, but the other really polarizing skill set is reading. And this map is really, really tough to combo. It's very consistently challenging to aim, so Tuna pops off here. Get a big score lead.
Oh, and don't look at Flying Tuna's accrued score, actually. If I do open the OSU chat here, and I do see a bunch of when you see... Yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, chat's on the ball at least. That's a good start. But yeah, I mean, Atkins, he did have some struggles in this one yesterday against Sudi, like you said. He was finding considerable misses in this just throughout the map. It wasn't like a huge drop section where he just fumbled the bag. No, he was consistently finding struggles on this one, but we'll have to see if he can make the difference this time, if he can redeem himself on it. Was holding that combo lead, but does drop it there early on. And there's a double reset. It just seems like it's a type of map where it's not comfortable to really hold long combos whatsoever. Just the consistent difficulty of a linear aim map like this on low AR Hidden really proves to be just difficult in a tourney. Who would have guessed? Because both players just unable to even get anything over a 200 combo so far.
I feel like every single time I've seen this map being played on Eternity, it's just this what we're seeing, just constant misses, nobody holding a big combo. It's just such a tough map to hold on to. But Atkins right now on the swirl, he does find a break right at the end there, but holding the ACK advantage, and especially on a map like this where combos are obviously very tough to keep, that ACK lead is going to make the difference. And remember, Tuna is already on the back foot. He needs to gain some score leads.
Yeah, so it's just like Atkins actually there at the end of that other section. He didn't even decide to aim to that final note. He didn't even want to aim to it whatsoever.
It's like,
I mean, these are so... These anti-aim patterns are so brutal on the ARA. You can see, again, it's just a similar performance to yesterday from Atkins here, and Tuna kind of in the same boat. It's only a 15k difference. Tuna looking like he might take it. At least you would hope that he can, so that he can bring the score differential in a little bit closer. Of course, we are in double elim now in the semifinals, so both players not at risk of elimination at the moment. and both will have a second chance. But still, you're wanting to stay in this winner bracket if you want your best chances of winning the tournament.
It's actually funny you mentioned the double Ilum. I believe Atkins' first matchup was a super close, like an almost loss, and that could have been a very unfortunate way to go. But looks like Flying Tuna at the ending here, on pace to come out with his first head-to-head win on a map, but maybe not as big of a margin as he wanted it to be, as Atkins is right behind.
It was actually a section there, one of the diff spike sections. Tuna managed to hit, I think the only player so far in this map to hit one of the diff spikes, and that's managed to accrue him this victory here. He's about 50k in the lead, just off of the back of that one diff spike he managed to hit, and Atkins unfortunately was unable to. 300 combo and building, I think the highest max combo we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And there it is. It ended up being, wow, he ended up closing the gap off that quite considerably. It's still
just hit the entire
60k, but
ending.
wow. Yeah.
I mean, that lead was like almost nothing. It was like a 10k lead, and by the end, just hitting the entire ending, which is super impressive on a map like this, because by the end of a difficult hidden 2, you're just brain fogged, generally. So really impressive to hold it together at the end, and a much needed win for Tuna. Now not too far behind, like 60k score lead behind. Going into Atkins' last pick though, but not looking too bad for either player. Like, I mean, it's going to be very, very close, especially as we mentioned. I think you said Grin maybe Tuna favored, and I'd probably agree, since it's a very aim control focused map, but Atkins also very solid on Hard Rock. So yeah, I mean, still anybody's game at this point.
And string theocracy with DT rate change of, I believe, 1.4x.
Yeah.
This is probably the hardest map in the pool, I would say. I mean, when I was looking through the showcase, this one just looked like by far the hardest map. I don't know. For me, it was like either something like this or possibly something like Mad Piano Party. But yeah, this map is no joke on 1.4. And I believe it was originally pulled at 1.5, and the testers were like, and the pullers were like, no, this is way too hard. So now it's 1.4, and it's still probably the hardest map in the pool. So here we go. It's even just hard to follow when watching it, I'm going to be honest.
You know a map is hard to read when it's hard to read as a spectator. Like, it's like if you're watching AR11, it looks easier than it is. Same thing, you're watching, low AR, it looks easier than it is. I'm struggling to, like, those doubles are so fast, man. They come at you the speed of light, and I doubt we're gonna see either player really hold a big combo. And right now it's pretty much neck and neck here.
I mean, if there was someone to go off on a map like this, it definitely would be Tuna, I think. I think I can imagine Tuna just going crazy on something like this, just for no reason, in a tourney as well. We'll see. Yeah, Atkins finding an early drop. Just even like those space quads that Tuna managed to hit there. So hard to hold combo. And you see the accuracy tanking for it for both the players, but you can't really blame them. It's going to be so hard to act at this approach rate with these consistent doubles and random swing patterns coming in. But Tuna is just looking really strong. 370 combo and building is no joke on a map like this, and only a minute remaining. How much can he build this up? He finally drops that combo at about 500. Atkins making a recovery, but he goes down as well with the trade. It's only a 20k difference. But Tuna, he's gonna want to try and make up this 60k score advantage that Atkins has managed to build up over the course of the match, and he's getting there. It's 30k so far.
This is Atkins' pick. It's a Tuna map after this, so Tuna can get a win here. It's going to be very, very big for him. Does find a drop on that slider, and I mean, it's in this intro section. Atkins is actually going to sneak up a little bit. Unfortunate break from Tuna there, but still wins out the pick by 13k, chomping on that lead that Atkins held on from the beginning bit by bit. Now right behind. Yeah, I think I'd probably agree that's probably the hardest map. Keep in mind, like, a 650k in Lazer is probably the equivalent of a roughly 300k score in Score v2. So pretty tough there.
Yeah, I think interesting to see Atkins pick that. I think I might kind of understand the strategy on it, but Tuna, I would actually on paper probably favor Tuna on something like that, just generally. But Atkins, there's obviously so many new strategies in this kind of format with score differential that it's like you can pick something like this and be like, yeah, maybe Tuna's favored on it, but I can keep up with him. You know, maybe he'll beat me by like less than 50k on it, or maybe I'll barely win. Being the end goal that, you know, the score differential might not change very much at the end of this, but it's better than my other options. And Atkins may be confident he can accrue a big lead early on, especially with something like that DT3. And I mean, it sort of worked out for him so far. Maybe not as convincing as he would have hoped it could work out, but he is still leading here by about 50k. As we now get into Nelv, the No Mod 4, just crazy high velocity slide attack patterns and so many different elements of tech in this map. This one is also one of the tougher maps in the pool.
And maps like this are super interesting for a much higher AC-focused scoring system. As you can see right now, Flying Tuna is crushing these slider ends. Absolutely eclipsing Atkins on accuracy right now. Does drop a little bit of AC there, but I mean, maps like this reward you so much more on this new scoring system if you can actually play them well. Normally on Scorpion 2, it's just focus on combo. That's all that really matters. Both of these players holding combo, but if both of them drop, Tuna is going to be so advantaged right now. There's Atkins with the first break, and that is the opportunity that Tuna needs. Likely first climb does it hits the slider stream. 99%. This score is absurd right now.
That is huge from Tuna to get through one of the hardest patterns in the map right there on that space stream. And he's continuing to hold this FC with 99% accuracy. Just going crazy on this in the final 45 seconds of the map. Hits probably the hardest pattern in the map there. This is unreal stuff from Tuna. This is his chance to get his lead that he's been barely missing out on all match long. 120k and God. Leading, hitting all of these patterns, man. These patterns are disgusting. Continues to shred this map up. Oh, nah.
He's going.
Crazy. Yeah, this is an unreal performance from Flying Tuna on this No Mod 4. 15 seconds remaining. He did finally find the combo drop, but what a performance. 800k and climbing on this map is no damn joke.
I mean, yeah, this entire matchup, it was so close between these two players. Atkins holding the lead early on, but there we go. Tuna winning it out by almost 200k, which a 200k win on the scoring system is like a 500k win equivalent on Scorpion 2. That was a phenomenal performance by Tuna. And now it's going to be really difficult for Atkins to take it back here on this last map, because he's going to basically have to do what Tuna just did again. But obviously in reverse, and on a map that Tuna's likely going to have a pretty good time on. I mean, I think it just takes one pop off in a matchup this close. You pop off one time on a map like Tuna just did, and you're secured.
I mean, it is only... It's about, what? 143k, roughly around there. So that's something to keep an eye out for in the score difference here at the bottom when they're playing. Atkins is going to have to win this one by about 143k or more in order to come out as the victor in this match, as we are moving into the decider. This is the final map. Neither player picking or banning this, leaving this map floated. And now it is going to be the decider. And like I was saying, I think it's something I do very slightly favor Tuna on. But it doesn't mean Atkins can't have a pop-off on this. He can't go crazy. He can't win by 143k. It's not that much score. So far in terms of this match, it's pretty considerable, considering every map has just been like less than 50k difference, it feels like. But it's absolutely doable. You know, maybe I favor Tuna, but it's not by much. It's like 55-45, you know?
I mean, I do agree. I think this map, though, just in general, is going to be tough to get a big score on either way. I think it's going to be closer to something like String Theocracy, where both players get relatively lower scores. And if that happens, even if Atkins wins on the head-to-head, his nominal lead might not be high enough. So we'll see how it goes. Does find some act drops there. But both players so far looking pretty good on the aim control.
Yeah, accuracy is pretty even as well. Wondering if any of these faster bursts might catch someone like Tuna off guard, but no, I don't think so. I don't think these bursts anywhere near the level of speed that's gonna matter for someone like Tuna. But the accuracy is, yeah, just pretty much even across the board here. Both on the 96. Very slight advantage for Atkins. It's not really gonna matter in the grand scheme of things. Halfway through the map, And this is where it's really going to matter. Akins is going to have to hold on to this combo at this point. I think if he wants to win this match, and Tuna is going to have to find that drop somewhere in the next, I'd say, quarter of the map. It's all on Akins holding this combo, though. He cannot lose it if he wants to continue on in the winner's bracket into the final stage. The seed number 2 in this tournament, the only Australian remaining, but both players are continuing to hold up their combos, shredding this map, man. It's just, Akins can't miss. Oh,
Here it
no!
is. There's the drop. I could not believe both players were holding on that long into the map. But I think you're right. As you mentioned, Akins needed to hold on to have a chance. But Flying Tuna, on insane momentum now, he would not do another bonkers score.
No, he wouldn't FC, right? I mean, the silver lining for Akins here, I think, would be if he does, it maybe wouldn't have mattered. He finally misses, though. Unfortunately for Akins EX, he is, I believe, going to be losing this matchup. Flying Tuna, what a performance on these final 2 maps. Just looking so close all match, and then Tuna just wakes up. Just swigs a Red Bull and goes crazy on the last 2 maps. What a performance.
Yeah, phenomenal performance from Tuna. I mean, with how fast the players ran for this map, so it'd be tough to find the time to swig a Red Bull. But there we go. Tuna on those last 2 maps making up for a huge difference and taking what was originally super close matchup. Akins holding the lead at the beginning. Tuna by the end winning out by, I think, like 300k? But both players played absolutely fantastic. Akins with that double time 1 full combo, but Tuna on the ending there on the aim control just too strong.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable performance there from Tuna on both of those last 2 maps. The No Mod 4 score was crazy, man. Like, yeah, the Grin score is good, but holy crap, that No Mod 4 score, I think our map is definitely way harder. That was unreal stuff from Tuna. Actually, coming out on top of this matchup, both players, by the way, eclipsing 5 million total score is unreal in that. 5 million is no joke, and both players there actually eclipsing it. Tuna closing out the match very, very strongly, and actually on paper, making the upset happen. Akins, the number 2 seed, he does go down to the lower bracket now, but he is not eliminated from the tournament. This is our first round of lower brackets. We are getting double elim, so Tuna, he is going to be moving on, fortunately, in the winner's bracket for him into the final stage. Akins moving on down to that to the finals lower bracket, where he will be facing up against it's going to be Tebby, I believe, in the lower bracket.
I believe so, and shout out to Tuna's total score, by the way, being 5445550. That is unreal satisfying. It's a beautiful score. But yeah, I mean, Akins still in the tournament, obviously. I mean, the double elim came in clutch for him, but yeah, good luck to Akins, and good luck to Flying Tuna in the finals.
Yeah, Flying Tuna going to be, of course, going up in that winners finals against Amamiya Kokoro, who's been looking phenomenal all tournament. But there it is. That's going to be the matchup for now. I believe, since this match was at such a strange time, I think for most people, wouldn't expect the next one to be anytime too soon, and yeah, it's not going to be. It is going to be Akins ZX playing again in about 4.5 hours time at 12 UTC, and it's going to be Tebby versus Akins, and that one will be followed by the finals winners matchup at 13 UTC between Amamiya Kokoro and Flying Tuna. So tune back in about 4.5 hours, and yeah, be here for those really, really hype matchups. But that's going to be it from us for now for Osu Lazer Grand Arena. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Mavs, and thank you again, Vordy, for casting alongside me. That's going to do it for us, and we will see you guys later.